brothers. Pretzel came along as a little angel, and Weiland just appeared.
I think you have to have an ego to some extent to be able to get up in front of 20,000 people every night and fool yourself that you're going to entertain them.
Since the birth of Stone Temple Pilots in 1990, its members experienced almost immediate full-fledged rock stardom. That included a lot of media attention, much of it harsh. From the beginning, Stone Temple Pilots were thrashed by rock critics for everything from hair color to personal excess to a certain likeness to a certain other band.
And in music, Stone Temple Pilots were on tour. They were great the first time I saw them, when they were called Pearl Jam.
Despite media bashing, STP sold over 8 million records with their first 2 releases. The contrast between what the press deemed cool and what people wanted to hear was illustrated by the 1994 Rolling Stone Readers Poll. Critics voted Stone Temple Pilots the worst band of the year, while readers gave them Best New Band honors.
Of course it bummed us out, but I think we just eventually just took an attitude like that. You know, we're just going to make music and do what we do.
After spending his formative years just outside of Cleveland, Weiland ditched small-town life for the thriving punk scene of Southern California. Meanwhile, in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, the DeLeo brothers were bored with the music scene there, and each made a separate journey to the West Coast.
Weiland and I met at a concert in Long Beach, California, and found out actually we were kind of seeing the same girl. There was a band playing one night. Eric was the loudest out of the band, and we just heard drums, and we said we got to have that guy. And we just couldn't find a guitar player to complete the project, and I always had my bro on my mind.
Well, the way I tell it, they were dead till I got there, you know.
Ironically enough, even though I grew up on the West Coast and these guys grew up on the East Coast, we all pretty much had the same musical background.
And Weiland, he got really into like a whole other realm of music that you know I didn't really experience much with, and the mixtures is as you hear it.
Mighty Joe Young, as they first called themselves, spent most of their time hustling gigs around their home base of San Diego before venturing up north to play LA's rock landmark, the Whiskey. They were quickly noticed and signed to Atlantic Records on April Fool's Day, 1992.
I went back to my job, and I told them I was leaving, that I just signed a record deal, and they did not take me seriously. They were like, okay, yeah, right, April Fool's, go back to work. I'm like, no, really, man, I'm out of here.
You ready there, Fellini?
Let's go.
I am smelling like the roses somebody gave me 'cause I'm dead.
Only a few weeks before the release of its major label debut, Mighty Joe Young, the band, were informed that a blues singer in Chicago named Mighty Joe Young owned the rights to the name.
It was just the worst. It was the worst. We went to the library, we looked at everything.
Scott and I were sitting around, we were just talking about stickers when we were kids, like on our, banana seat bicycles and skateboards. We were just talking how cool the SCP sticker was. And he was like, we should do something with those initials. And I just blurted out, Stereo Temple Pirates. And we called Robert, all excited. And Robert goes, I don't think I'm so into pirates. And he goes, what do you think of pilots? We're like, yeah, that's cool. And we called Steve, our manager. He's like, well, what do you think of Stone? And it just came out, Stone Temple Pilots. We kind of went with it.
I can remember being a little kid, and you opened up the album and you looked at every song and you listened to every song, and the whole album had a vibe, and that's what we were trying to create with Core, is make an album that just flowed from top to bottom with a vibe.
Core began creeping up the charts with its first single, Sex Type Thing. which secured heavy radio play and accusations of glorifying date rape.
It was just something really simple. Weiland put himself in the perspective of the idiot-type person, for lack of a better term, who thinks like that and looks at women in that aspect. And you know the lyrics.
Dress up a little bit, you know, for all you macho type guys that might have misunderstood this song.
It might anger people at first who don't really understand what the song's about or what you know, where we come from on certain issues like that. But I think that in general the idea has come about.
Did you really write Plush in a hot tub with Eric? The lyrics?
Yeah, we did.
So we're just sitting in a hot tub throwing ideas back and forth. It was just kind of intimate between friends.
Is there anything wrong with two men being naked in a jacuzzi together?
Not those two men.
Writing songs about dogs and love.
Determined to prove themselves even further, the band hit the road, leaping from 500-seat clubs to 5,000 capacity venues as Megadeth's opener. Along the way, Plush was everywhere. Even an impromptu acoustic set inundated the airwaves.
Oh, when the dogs you find her, got time to wait for tomorrow.
The label wanted to put the acoustic version on some form of EP, which we weren't real keen on because that's one song off of an album. There's 11 other songs. We don't want this record to be thought of, you know, as the Plush album.
I wanna run through your way to goddamn happy man I used to be.
I don't really owe anybody anything. I think I owe myself something musically, and that's just to be honest about my own emotions, and because songs are derivative of human emotion, I mean, just hope in a perfect world that that's what eventually will define you.